מזמור לדוד. אדוני רואי לא אחסר. בינות אשר ירביצני על מי מנוחות ינחלני. נפשי ישובב. ינחני ומגלי צדק למען שמו. גם כי הלך בגץ המוות, לא ירא רע, כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי. דשנת ושמן ראשי כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירדיפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. I've chanted for you the words of our 23rd Psalm. As we seek comfort on these most difficult days, we oftentimes turn to the psalmist, and so I ask you to recite these words with me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember her. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we will remember her. In the opening buds and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember her. In the blueness of sky and in the warmth of summer, we will remember her. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember her. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember her. And when we are lost and sick at heart, we will remember her. When we have joys we yearn to share, we will remember her. So long as we live, she too will live, for she is now a part of us as we remember Aral Neiditz. To you, Marty, to your children, to Marcy and Rick, to her sister and brother-in-law, Rita and Bob, her brother-in-law, Dan, to the nieces and nephews, Jonathan, Peter, Andrew, Tova, David, Elise, Lauren, and Larry, and to all the members of the family and so many dear friends who have joined us today. We've come together to remember, but also to celebrate the beautiful life of your beloved Aral. Our sages have taught us that birth is a beginning and death a destination, and life is a journey from childhood to maturity and from youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness, and often back again, from health to sickness and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness and from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude and from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until Looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination. And life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage to life everlasting. Aral's journey began here in Cleveland. She was born in April of 1931 to Lee and Mildred Meisel. Her father, Lee, was a dentist, and her mother, Mildred, or Mickey as she was known by most, was a homemaker. Aral and her younger sister, Rita, grew up in Cleveland Heights on Berkeley Road, and their childhood years included many regular visits to Pittsburgh to see their mom's side of the family. The family were also longtime members of the Temple Tifereth Israel, where Aral was confirmed. Rita and her husband Bob live in California, and they are joining our service today via live stream. And so we welcome them and we send our condolences to them. And in speaking with her sister Rita by phone yesterday, I learned that she and her big sister were different in a few ways. Aral was always very shy, and she was quiet, while Rita was quite talkative. Rita also remembered being young and her sister sharing a bedroom when their grandmother came to live with them. And Rita said that at night the two girls would say their prayers. Now remember that Aral was the quiet one and Rita was more talkative, and so her big sister would say to her, Aral would say to Rita, once you say your prayers, you can't talk, or else your wishes won't come true. That was the way she figured out how to get her sister to stop talking at night. And Rita also shared with me that there were several visits between Cleveland and California. And when Aral was out in California with her sister, Rita would take her to thrift shops. They loved shopping together. And they had an unspoken closeness. There was always a sisterly bond. Without ever having to say a word, they always knew that the other one loved each other very much. And Rita also commented that Aral was always so thoughtful, remembering every birthday and every anniversary through cards. Now, in her high school years, Aral was a very good student, and she was also active in her high school sorority. But her one deficiency, she just could not pass her high school swimming test. But fortunately, this did not discourage Aral from going after her goals. Following her graduation from Cleveland Heights High School, Aral matriculated to Ohio University in Athens, and it was there that she studied education. Aral's college roommate was a young lady named Florence Neiditz. One weekend, Florence's older brother, Marty, came down to OU for a visit, and he was fixed up on a date with Aral. Now, Marty, there was some long-distance dating that followed that very first date, but it wasn't until one certain New Year's Eve party where Florence, who was by then married to Don, Florence and Don were hosting the party that evening. Marty, you were in Cleveland and you wanted to attend the party with Aral, but when you asked her, you found out she already had another date for the party. And Marty was not too pleased about this. So he made sure that this was not going to happen again. Aral and Marty soon became an exclusive couple. And so, Marty, you would drive to visit your sweetheart. You would drive all the way from Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, all the way to Athens to visit your favorite gal. Aral and Marty were married on June 20th, 1954 by Rabbi Abba Hillel Silver of the Temple Tifereth Israel. And following a honeymoon to Hawaii, they made their first home in Japan, in a town known as Seijo-Machi. Marty, you and Aral lived in Japan for about 2 years, and this was for your career. And you said that the home that you made in Japan, that it was really more like a fairy tale. It was so beautiful, and you rented out the wing of a large Japanese estate. Now, prior to marrying Aral, she did teach kindergarten here in town in the Euclid school system. And while she was in Japan with you, she was called on many times to substitute as a teacher for kindergartners at the Air Force Base. Marty, you and Aral were so fortunate to also have a helper in this home, a maid whose name was Michiko, and Aral and she became dear friends as well. When it came time for the two of you to return to Cleveland, you and Aral purchased your first home, the house that you've always lived on North Sedgwick in South Euclid. As a couple, Aral and Marty enjoyed a fun social life, much of which was centered around her involvement with ORT. Aral's mother had always been active in ORT, and Aral followed in her mom's footsteps, not only by being involved with this wonderful organization, but in also serving as president of the Olivewood chapter. Now, Aral loved to shop, and when it came to shopping, she especially liked bargain buys, garage sales, and antiquing. And Marty, this wasn't exactly your thing, but there were times that you certainly allowed Aral to drag you around with her to all of these places that gave her so much pleasure. And you both enjoyed your monthly gourmet cooking club and all the friends that you made through that experience. But then, Aral and Marty's lives became even more meaningful when in 1957, Marcy entered into the world. And then just 2 years later, in 1959, Rick was born, making the Neiditz family portrait even more beautiful and complete. Marty, you and Aral experienced life together. You experienced the world together. Not only did you live in Japan, but your career also brought the two of you to live in Hawaii and in Israel. Now, while in Hawaii, Aral became very involved with the temple there, Temple Emmanuel, and she also was busy working on behalf of Hadassah. And in 1985, Marty, you were hired by a company known as Raphael. You and Aral made Aliyah and moved to Israel, settling in Ahuza, a suburb and area of Haifa. For 9 years, Israel was your home, and once again, Aral reinvented her wheel in making new friends. She became a member and then the president of the Northern Israel Hadassah chapter. With your wonderful new friends, Marty, you and Aral traveled all over the land of Israel. And you not only embraced your Jewish and Israeli culture and our Jewish religious observances there, but Aral made sure to bring a little bit of Americana to the Holy Land, inviting all of their friends and even some family you found there to enjoy Thanksgiving with them and the 4th of July celebration. In 1994, due to Aral's father's health condition, they decided to return to South Euclid. And back in Cleveland, Aral kept busy with her Maj group. She was an avid Maj player, and I know Marcy, in her honor, has learned how to play the game as well. And Aral and Marty had their weekly bridge game, and Aral enjoyed some amazingly fun, great outings with the ladies of the Red Hat Society, the Red Hatitudes. Marcy and Rick, you shared with me some beautiful memories of your mom. You recall a mom who was generous, caring, and loving. A mom who was a stay-at-home mom, except for the times when she was asked to substitute teach. Marcy, you weren't thrilled about the times when your mom would end up substituting for your class, but she did, in fact, work as a substitute teacher in that school system. She was a mom who had her collections. She collected cookbooks, her Demitas teacups, and Japanese art pieces. And Rick and Marcy, you both knew a mom who gave of herself tirelessly. You shared with me that your mom was an amazing cook, and Rick, it seems that you have gotten so many of those skills from your mom. And you both remember a mom who was so creative and talented artistically. Aral sewed all of Marcy's clothing when she was young and taught Marcy to sew as well. And Marcy, definitely, you have soared artistically, and you've shared that love of art with your mom. Your mom also kept a beautiful home for the two of you and for your dad. But more than that, she made a home that was always a warm and welcoming place for your friends. It was a place where all of your pals could gather. Sometime in 2009, Aral's health began to spiral downward, and she faced so many health challenges. But Marty, you and your children, You, Marcy and Rick, you were always there for her. You were always there trying to keep her spirits lifted and giving her the love and respect that she deserved. You gave her the love and you showed her that you were there to be strong and caring for her. And the most precious gift of all the three of you could give to her, you protected her dignity throughout those times. That was always a top priority. And so today, as we remember this beautiful woman, a woman with a very bright and endearing smile, as we remember, we join with the sages of our people as we say, Zichrona livracha, may the memory of Aral Neiditz and the good blessings, the good deeds that she performed in the land of the living, may these always be your precious blessing. Amen. When I come to the end of the road and the sun has set for me, I want no rites in a gloom-filled room. Why cry for a soul set free? Miss me a little, but not too long, and not with your head bowed low. Remember the love that we once shared. Miss me, but let me go. For this is a journey we all must take, and each must go alone. It's all a part of the Master's plan, a step on the road to home. When you are lonely and sick at heart, go to the friends we knew and bury your sorrows in doing good deeds. Miss me, but let me go. I invite those who are able to rise now for the El Mole, the memorial prayer. El Mole Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, עמסי מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כי זוהר הרקיע מסעירים, את נשמת יקירנו, שהלכה לעולמה בגן עדן תחיה מנוחתה. ענה בהרחמים אסתירך, בסתר כנפיך לעולמים, בתצרור בצרורך ימת נשמתה. אדוני הוא נחלתה, ותנוח בשלום על משכבה ונאמר Amen. O merciful God, who dwells on high, who is full of compassion, grant perfect rest beneath the shelter of your divine presence among the holy and pure, who shine as the brightness of the firmament. To our dear departed Aral Neiditz, who has gone now to her eternal home, may Aral's soul be bound up in the bonds of eternal life, and grant that her memory inspire all of us to noble and consecrated living. And to this we can say, Amen. Friends, if anyone is wishing to make a contribution in memory of Aral, the family has suggested that you might consider Ort America or Hadassah. Also, following the interment, the family will receive visitors at their home on North Sedgwick until 8 p.m. this evening, and also on Monday and Tuesday from 2 p.m. until 8 o'clock. On behalf of Marty, Marcy, Rick, and the entire family, we thank you for your love and support on this important but sad day.